There's every fruit for your soul's delight. My gift to you, these things and more I give to you. The healing power for you. Glory and praise, 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 and love divine from on high, power, light, and take care of my love. My love is all that I have to give. All that I have to give, I give to you. All things and more I give to you. The healing power to offer you glory and praise, glory and praise, glory and praise, glory and praise, glory and love divine from on high, power, light, and praise. These things and more I give to you. Glory and grace.
Ashe, Ashe, oh, Ashe. We give thanks to Brother Jeff for bringing us that video with Brother
Rudy Wangosi.
I was saying his name all while he was singing. It's just Rudy Wangosi, indeed. Skillful, spiritually blessed singer, musician, glory and grace, glory and grace. Grand Rising, Bose, Grand Rising. As we prepare to move forward, I'd like to share a couple of readings from our sacred text. One's from The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, the late ancestral Chancellor Williams. You find it on page 94. He talks about, because religion of the Africans was far more than a ritual reflecting beliefs, but a reality reflected in their actual way of life. Religion from the earliest times became the dynamic force in the development of all major aspects of Black civilization. And related to that is our quest, something that's is mentioned in a creative way in Ayikwe Arma's book, 2000 Seasons, on page 247 of the version I have. That vision is the aim of this vocation, the clearing of destruction's pale, thick-lined pus from eyes too long blinded to every possibility of the way. This life work, its fruit should be the birth of new seers, other hearers, more numerous utterers. This is no hurried hustle, hot with sweaty anticipation of impatient profit, but a lifetime's work. It's not the passage of the seasons that concerns this vocation then. It's the thoroughness of work, the trueness of the search of our way. So now we're going to move forward with we'll say community affirmation with Mama Afua and Baba Ustadi, and that will be followed by a song from Tubinu Cultural Gatherers. Ashe, let's move on.
Greetings to Jose and to the spirits that are with us and guide us. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined. Baba Ustadi?
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new directions of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God with the blessing of the Almighty, that one day we will say, we will be free and understand what it is to be an African. Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Tubinu Cultural Gatherers.
Greetings, Jose. Welcome. We have a presentation we'd like to do for Black History Month. My name is Brian B. Bowling, and my wife will be joining me any moment. And I'd like to start off with a composition written by Mongo Santa Maria. And the lyrics was from a great brother from Chicago, Oscar Brown Jr. The title of the song is called Afro Blue. cream of the land my soul comes from. I hear a hand stroke on a drum. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue. Elegant boy, beautiful girl, dancing for joy in a delicate world. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro. And two lovers are face to face with undulating grace. Laugh and play and slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue.
This year marks over 400 years since our African American ancestors were enslaved here in the United States of America. We give homage to our ancestors that survived the Middle Passage, as well as those that did not survive it. For they all made it possible for us to be alive today. Some of our African American ancestors, the pioneers that left the South to escape slavery, traveled west to the free soil of California. However, they soon discovered the struggles over slavery was widespread here also. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. We must honor the courageous African American pioneers that settled here on the West Coast. Ancestors like Mary Ann Wright, better known as Mother Wright, humanitarian activists who lived and worked in Oakland. Delilah L. Beasley, historian and newspaper columnist, a journalist for the Oakland Tribune. Bridget Biddy Mason, activist, nurse, philanthropist, and real estate entrepreneur. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. Other African American pioneers like Louis G. Green, Reverend Jesse Hamilton, Robert and Winnie Owens. These ancestors helped build the cultural, economic, civic, and spiritual foundation for social change and equality in Los Angeles. Bridget Biddy Mason was also part of that collective. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. And ancestors like Marcus A. Foster, educator and first Black superintendent. Allen Allensworth, founder of the first Black town in 8. He was also a colonel, chaplain, and theologian. Mary Helen Pleasant, entrepreneur and abolitionist. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget. We must remember, lest we forget.
Dream of a land where soul comes from. I hear a hand stroke on a drum. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue. Elegant boy, beautiful girl, dancing for joy in a delicate world. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue, hey, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue, Afro blue.
Ashe, ashe, Afro blue, Afro blue, we must remember, lest we forget. Lest we forget. The forces in this world and this nation right now that are trying to force us to forget. You got no business teaching that Black history. You got no business teaching about the misery we put you Black people through and your efforts to be liberated, to liberate yourself. Hey, yeah, we must remember, lest we forget. So now we look forward to our historical tribute. And Minister Bill's coming forward, and I'm sure he's going to share with us something that we must remember. We need to remember lest we forget and not be able to benefit from what our ancestors have done. So Minister Bill, come forward.
Yes. Grand Rising will say, every Sunday in our historical tributes, we remind ourselves of some significant, not necessarily famous, but significant person, place, or event in our history. We understand that only we can truly tell our story. Only we can rightly deliver our past to inform our future. Like Ms. Sharana, today I'm focusing on the recent and the local, an interview with the retired Davis professor Tilahun Yilmah. I'll cue up the video, or the audio. It is an audio interview with Professor Yilmah. And there he is, Professor Yilmah. And, oh, excuse me, once more. Need to set up the audio. Okay. And Professor Yilmah.
Tilahun Yilmah learned from his grandmother about the year of the annihilation of cattle. That year was 1888, when invading Italian troops brought rinderpest, a deadly cattle disease, to Ethiopia. The virus wiped out 90% of the nation's cattle, and millions of people starved to death in the aftermath. In his native Ethiopia, Yilmah listened to his grandmother's stories and set out to destroy the disease that had devastated his country. His work to develop a new vaccine for rinderpest helped eradicate the disease, the last known case of which was recorded in 2001. Tilahun Yilmah is a distinguished professor in the School of Veterinary Medicine of the University of California, Davis. He also directs the International Laboratory of Molecular Biology for Tropical Disease Agents. He was elected to the National Academy of Sciences in 2004.
My name is Tilahun Yilmah. I'm a professor at University of California, Davis. I grew up in Ethiopia. I was born right after the Second World War. My mother was, when the Italians invaded Ethiopia, she escaped and went to Kenya as a refugee. And my father was a guerrilla fighter for 5 years during the Italian occupation. So he was coming out of the jungle, and she was returning back to Ethiopia after the Italians were kicked out. After 5 years of occupation, when they left, well, the emperor returned back from Britain, and my mother was on her way back to Ethiopia, and my father was coming out of the jungle. It was obvious that they weren't going to be able to live together. And my mother decided that I should live with my father because Ethiopians, the father plays a very important disciplinary role. Mothers are very tender, and so children get spoiled. She felt that if I lived with my father, that I would go to school, I'll be successful. If I stayed with her, I'd probably be spoiled and fail. So that decision was made. So they both decided that I should live with my dad. And my father was very disciplinarian. He demanded that I studied, and most likely if I hadn't lived with him, I would never have achieved what I have achieved. And I also happened to be lucky because the person that he knew before my mom, because 5 years he's gone all over the country, met this woman. Her name is Maritu. He's probably one of the most intelligent people, if not the most intelligent people I've ever met. She is really the one who raised me. And if it weren't for her, I would have not achieved what I have achieved. It's tremendous influence she has on my life. Even if when I am in a difficult situation, I always ask, if Maritu was in this situation, what would she do? So she became really a guiding light for my life, and she still is.
How did you first become interested in science?
I think it was ingrained in me. It was when I started living with my mother, my stepmother, I continued with my experiments. And Ethiopia, it's a poor country, developing country, so there was a lot of flies, right? Musca domestica, so I was very good at catching these flies, catch a fly, remove one wing, see what was the effect on its movements. I would remove another wing, and they would rotate the opposite way, and I was doing this. So I took a razor blade and cut its head off, and the fly flew away. And I said, my goodness, how is this possible? How could a mosquito, an insect, fly like that? So I said, maybe I didn't do a proper job, so I caught another one, did it, repeated 3 times, it did. Then I screamed, I said, Mom, you wouldn't believe it. She said, what is it? She said, do you know that flies don't have to have a head to fly? She said, what do you mean? I can cut the head off and they would fly. I said, you're a liar. I said, no, come on, let me show you. So I showed it to her, and she said, my goodness, it is unbelievable. What a gifted child. He's already started experimenting. So when my father came for lunch, she said, I saw the most incredible thing today, honey. Would you want to, come on, show your dad. This is unbelievable. He's doing all these things. And then, of course, when I first became a first-year college, I was taking entomology class, which is the study of insects. And of course, the way the brains of insects is organized is into 3 ganglions, 3 divisions. There is one ganglion that controls the head, the antennas and os parts, and then the second ganglion is on it is thorax, which is to control the wings and the legs. And the third ganglion is in the abdomen, and that controls the digestive tract. So if you chop the head off, yes, they wouldn't see where they're going, but what controls the wings and the legs is the thoracic ganglion. So they can, of course, they will die eventually, but so that's what happened. So later I found out why they were able to do that.
How did you come to study viruses?
There is no opportunity in Ethiopia. So the per capita income is $100 per year, imagine, for a family. So there is no way anyone could send a child to University of California, pay the tuition on that kind of salary. It's even unthinkable. So everything has to be done on a scholarship. So I excelled in school. I always was top of my class. So because I was top of my class in grade school, at the end of the 8th grade, they gave a national exam for everyone in the country. Everybody in the 8th grade, at the end of the 8th grade, the same hour, the same time. We don't have time zones. It is administered by the Ministry of Education. Everybody takes the same exam. Based on the results of the exam, you go to given high schools, boarding high schools, and the top 50 were chosen to go to this high school run by Oklahoma State University in Jimma, Ethiopia. Literally, these were professors from Oklahoma State University who came and taught in this high school. The emphasis was math, science, and agriculture. It's called the Jimma Agricultural Technical High School. And so I was really fortunate, one, to have professors teaching in high school, and second, taking this interest in me. I chose to go to this college run by Oklahoma State University in eastern part of Ethiopia. And then after my second year, they decided that I should actually go to the United States and study to be a veterinarian because they were going to start this program to eradicate rinderpest using the old vaccine. And so they wanted to send kids they thought would have a good chance of being accepted into veterinary school because it's so difficult to get into veterinary school here. So for my second year, they sent me to University of California, Davis as a pre-vet. And then after my one more year for my third year, before I even got my bachelor's degree, I did extremely well. They accepted me for my third year to get into veterinary school. And then
so you made it into the veterinary program.
Right.
And then what happened?
I finished, I went back. There was this all tissue culture vaccine they made. And you needed a refrigerator. You needed to carry a kerosene refrigerator because we have no electricity. We're working in the desert. We're driving in this desert on a Land Rover, four-wheel drive. So sometimes, the kerosene refrigerator would break down. We lose hundreds of thousands of doses of vaccine. So I said, we got to make a vaccine that does not need refrigeration. So I was thinking about that. And second, it would also be nice to make a vaccine that is not so expensive to produce. You have to have tissue culture facilities, you have to propagate it, purify it, all these things. So what they decided to do was, the first 2 years, you will have professors teaching, both in the medical school and veterinary school, and then the third and the fourth year, the veterinarians would go to their classes and their physicians. So they decided to send me to University of California and back again to do a PhD so I can teach microbiology, virology, both in the medical school and in the veterinary school. So after I did my PhD, then the Haile Selassie government was overthrown. I couldn't go back. So I decided I got an opportunity to work at the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, who worked on exotic viral disease such as foot and mouth disease, rinderpest, bovine pneumonia. I heard about this new technology that Bernie Moss developed, where he uses the smallpox vaccine as a piggyback for carrying genes of other diseases. So when you get scratched like a smallpox vaccine, you also get protected for these other diseases. I said, my goodness, this doesn't need tissue culture facility. You can just codify the abdomen of a cat, produce 200,000 doses of vaccine in the dried scalp. You don't need to refrigerate it. When you need, just add a little bit of water. You take it with scratches and you can inject it. Easy to produce, easy to administer, it's stable. This is just wonderful and perfect. Then I decided to make this heat stable, easy to produce, easy to administer vaccine for rinderpest.
So what happened to rinderpest in Ethiopia after you developed this new vaccine?
Well, the problem is we made the vaccine, but distributing it became a very difficult thing because all these interest groups started fighting to prevent it from being used. But what Africans need is really to be able to be in control of their own program, not have to depend on USAID or the European Union or some external agencies who control because they have their own self-interest.
So what did you work on after that? You've accomplished this.
After that, we just finished making a wonderful vaccine for another disease called Rift Valley fever. Rift Valley fever affects humans, affects domestic animals. It's one of the most important diseases Department of Homeland Security tries to prevent from coming into this country. Because if it comes into this country, we have these mosquitoes that will permanently in this country. So I just made the diagnostic kit. We just published last September the paper in PNAS, beautiful vaccine. And we've also developed a beautiful dipstick test within a couple of minutes that will tell you for foot and mouth disease, diagnostic test, for Rift Valley fever. Of course, the diagnostic test we developed for vesicular stomatitis virus that separates it from foot and mouth disease is the one developed in my lab, is used now by the United States Department of Agriculture in South America as well. So our laboratory has not only advanced knowledge, but it also made things that people could use. So we feel very proud.
What's the work that you're proudest of?
I think the most important thing probably that I'm proud of was not only how we made this important vaccines diagnostic test, but I was able to bring people from developing countries who were made to feel inferior and incapable of doing anything for themselves. I think I have made it a point to show that if given the right opportunity, if there is a peaceful place to do, Africans are just as capable as anyone. They made one of the top standing recombinant vaccines in the world. One is rinderpest, the other one is rabies. These are Africans. They can. So I think I give the working proof that this can be done. Anyone in the world, if given the opportunity, can be self-sufficient and solve their own problems.
What advice would you give your son?
My son, his science is not a negotiable item. He can give away anything he wants. But once they take his science away, they will put him down. Your dignity as a human being is not a negotiable item. Once you allow people to question your dignity, you'd rather be dead than allow that. So what I'll tell my son is, his dignity as a human being is not a negotiable item. His science, his discoveries are not negotiable items.
Ashe, our dignity is not a negotiable item.
Beautiful,
Minister?
Baba, beautiful.
Ashe, ashe, indeed, our dignity is not a negotiable item. If we don't allow that to happen, then our intelligence will thrive, and the truth, beauty, and goodness that we can bring into being in the universe, into our communities, into our homes, into our hearts can thrive. We give thanks, Brother Bill, Minister Bill, for that presentation. Ashe, ashe, oh. And now we're all set up for another treat from To Be New Cultural Gatherers. Let's hear you.
All right now, family.
Ashe.
Yes, yes. We would like to do our second offering, and we'd like to dedicate it to the Watotos in our community, in the Wose community, at the Wose School.
Yeah, Ile Omode.
And also throughout the whole diaspora. This song is written by our lovely dear sister, Nina Simone. It's entitled, To Be Young, Gifted, and Black.
I will be doing a medley of poems, 3 poems. Ile Omode, Tomorrow's Leaders, and Our Children.
Ready. To be young, gifted, and black. Oh, what a lovely, precious dream. To be young, gifted, and black. Open your heart to what I made. In this whole world, you know, there are a million boys and girls who are young, gifted, and black, and that's a fact. To be young, gifted, and black, how we must tell our young. There's a world waiting for you. Your quest for life is just begun. So if you're feeling real low, there's one great truth that you should know. To be young, gifted, and black, your soul's intact. Young, gifted, and black. Oh, how I long to follow the truth. There are times when I look back and I am haunted by my youth. But the joy of today, we are all so proud to say, to be young, gifted, and black, it's where it's at.
November 18, 2016, To Be New was honored to perform for the students at Ile Omode. The students were ushered into the auditorium by their teachers, watching them take their seats and adhering to the directions of their teachers was a joy to behold. The energetic eagerness and inquisitive spirit that exuded from the boys and girls captured our attention and brought us genuine joy. In May of 2018, I visited Ghana, West Africa, and I witnessed there at the Ghana High School that I was privileged to perform at for their students. The students were refreshing to witness. Their openness to sharing, patience to listen, thoughts about life, creative ideas for change, their sensibility and sensitivity towards others, as well as their awareness to local community challenges and worldly issues too, has opened the door, giving tomorrow's leaders the opportunity to seek and explore. To pop, zoom, 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 boom, boom, boom. Our children hear the sounds of a new beginning. Our children are the catalysts moving us from our present world to that horizon. Distractions are necessary for the emergence of the dawn. Our children are equipped to confront and handle the world they are changing. For we have taught them well. Elders hold the power, possess the strength, shape and mold the minds of our children. Elders are love, nourishing role models today for tomorrow's leaders. Our children, to pop, zoom, 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 cha-chong, 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 boom, boom, boom.
To be young, gifted and black. Oh, how I long to know the truth. Young, gifted and black. Sometimes I'm haunted by my youth, but the joy of today, we are all so proud to say, to be young, gifted and black is where it's at.
It's where it's at.
It's where it's at.
Ashe, ashe, oh, ashe. We must do all that we can, every way we can, to help our young people understand they are young, gifted, and black. Made me think about something that my sister-in-law says, that before you are allowed to bring any children into the world, you need to get a license. You know, and in some ways I share with her that, well, that's what our ancestors did, that one of the most important things that they strive to get across to the children, you're going to be parents and you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z. You have to be a great parent so your children can be great adults. And so it's in our hands if it's in our hearts, and to be young, gifted, and black. Ooh, there's nothing better in this earth, in this world, here and now and ages to come. And it's great to know that so many of our parents are indeed doing that, taking care of their children with infinite care, sending them to schools like Ile Omode and other schools around the world. We need more such schools so that more of our children can bring forward their genius. Ashe, ashe. So now we're going to have a presentation of the Litany of Sacrifice. That's Sister Bobby and Baba Ed are coming forward with that. Come forward, let it roll.
Good morning, Wusay family. Hope all is well this morning. Ed and I will be doing the Litany of Sacrifice, and I'll go ahead and start here. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amen Ra, for it is good. Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Ujichagalia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective working responsibility. We should build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people.
And in the righteousness and victory of our struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Creator, thank you for the new sunrise today. Bless this church of families and supporters, those who are able to contribute financially. Comfort those that are suffering from loss of loved ones, and give us the strength to stay on the path of Ma. This is my prayer. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe, ashe. We might want to go back to the presentation of the addresses where contributions can be sent. See one there for Oakland on the left, and one for Sacramento on the right. There are internet connections, as well as the US postal locations and addresses. So if you got that information, you have a contribution you want to make, let it roll. I see. Put it to good use, I'm sure.
And you can copy it from the chat as well.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on here now and be blessed with a message from Minister Alicia. One of those sisters, you know, in my head right now, spinning around like we want someone who had a license to bring children into this world, because she's showing it, because they're taking care of those children and inspiring them and getting them coming and being of service in our services, and just sharing words of wisdom with them and inspiration with them. And so she's bringing that wisdom and inspiration to us now. Minister Alicia, come forward. Ashe.
Give thanks. Ashe. Thank you, Minister Makalisi. Thank you, everyone who has come here today at this time. And Let me start my thing so I don't be talking long, because you know I can and you know I will. So I'm gonna do my best to keep my mind on the time. I'm going to read to you today from in the Hosea, from the book of Kakepara Soneb, number 2, where it says, "Every day that dawns brings events from which the face is forced to turn. I speak out strongly against it. My limbs are heavy laden and my heart is heavy with grief. It is painful not to speak about it. Another heart might bend or break, but a strong heart in the midst of difficulties is an ally to its owner." Then Kakepara Soneb said to his heart, "Come, my heart, that I may speak to you and you might respond to what I have said. Interpret for me what is happening in the land. Why those who were once so brilliant are now brought low. I meditate on what has come to pass. Misery has come today and turmoil will not end tomorrow. Everyone is silent about it. The whole land is in great trouble and none are wise enough to know it. None are angry enough to speak out, and every day one wakes to suffering. Thus my suffering is long and heavy. The weak and wretched lack the strength to save themselves from that which overwhelms them. It is painful to keep silent about what one hears, and yet it is of no use to answer the ignorant. People only love their own words. Everyone builds on crookedness, and right speaking is abandoned. I have spoken to you, my heart, now answer me. A heart that is approached must not keep silent. For surely the servant and the master share the same fate, and thus many are the things that must weigh heavy on you also." And I also want to read from on page 111 in the book of Coming Forth by Day, the end of number 9 and number 10, where it says, "I have not indulged in quarreling. I have not engaged in violence. I have not been quick-tempered. I have not misrepresented my nature. I have not gossiped. I have not slandered the Pharaoh. I have not waded in drinking water. I have not been loud-voiced. I have not blasphemed against God. I have not been arrogant. I have not discriminated against others. I have not coveted others' property. I have not offended the God of my city. Behold, I have come to you empty of evil and devoid of deceit, a blameless one without a witness against him or her. Therefore, let no cause be brought against me. I live on Ma'at. I satisfy myself with the righteousness of my heart. For I have done that which men and women request, and that which pleases God. I have found favor with God by doing what he loves. I have given bread to the hungry, water to the thirsty, clothes to the naked, and a boat to those without one. I have made due offerings to God and funeral offerings to the departed. Deliver me then and protect me. Make no report against me in the presence of the great God, for I am one whose mouth is pure, whose hands are clean. Therefore, let it be said to me, welcome, come in peace by those who shall see me. Ashe. Today, we are going to talk about from the theme, New Levels, New Devils. And I heard that saying, and every time I say it now, nobody's heard of it before, but that was something that, they used to talk about a long time ago. I heard my mom say it a lot, and, it was one of those things that stuck with me. So today it took me a while to kind of figure out where to start with this message. So I'm hoping y'all just follow me along with the journey. There's an artist that I like named Londrell, and I talk about him every once in a while. And he has a song called Vibrate Higher. So hopefully you guys look up Londrell, Londrelle, Londrell. He's an artist, and he has a song, and some of the words he's talking about, that he does yoga and meditation. He's been raising his vibration. He's been patient. He's been waiting, been healing, been praying, been stacking, been saving, meditation affirmations. So he talks about the work that he's doing. And so today I kind of want to speak to those who's been doing the work. A lot of times we kind of focus on those who are new or just come in or whatnot, but a lot of us have been doing a lot of work. And so that got me thinking of spiritual growth and spiritual movement. Sometimes I look at our community and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful community of how intelligent and studious people can be. And the books that we read and the trips that we've been on, I enjoy being with people who are intellectual and spiritual. And also among us, you will see us that are mainly intellectual, and some are mainly spiritual. Some are spiritually intellectual, and some are intellectually spiritual. But no matter which area you fall under, it's a wonderful group of beings that we are here with. Learning from this segment of beings, I feel, is a blessing. Most High has revealed to me some things as we go along in this journey together, and I'm here to share with you some of those things, some of those insights. So one thing that we have to think about is when we're walking with the Most High, that even if it's a situation like my own, where I began in the Christian church and now I'm here in Erwose, Most High wants to let you know that he is who he is never changing. It's us that has a perceived notion of, now I'm starting anew, now I'm a new person here, and I have to do all these things are new, but God is not new. And if you have been walking with Most High prior to even becoming a member of WOSE, just know that you're not starting at zero. You're having a relationship that's growing and moving with the Most High to new levels. You're expanding and moving to a new level, not necessarily desecrating the level that you were on. Because for me, my Christian journey has given me profound roots in the ground when it comes to what are things spiritually that I need to do. My understanding of spirituality, my dedication to God, all of those things started there. But here, if you're new here, we're just learning and growing on new levels. And some people probably needed to hear that we're not starting fresh, we're not starting from zero, because we already have a relationship with the Most High. If you have, it's just a new level. God is not new, and we are learning deeper and deeper mysteries as we are moving forward, and we're moving further into the temple. So to anyone who has come to WOSE that's new, or anyone who's come after me, I came here in 2001. And sometimes when you're hearing stories of people who have been here since the inception or since 1990s or whatnot, then sometimes you feel like we're behind, but that's not necessarily the case. We just have to understand a difference of growth. There's growth periods. There's also, you have to think about, some people will come and they will sit back and they will do nothing. They will be here, then they'll be gone, then they'll be here, they'll be gone. And it's not necessarily a spiritual growing. So if you've been growing spiritually and moving spiritually, that this is not new, because the tenets of the Most High are the same. We are just opening and revealing more and more of it. So I'm right. I have everything written down, but of course I'm going off my notes. So just trying to get back to it. So many of us are doing the work, and I can see it by your fruits and the vibrations that come from interactions with you. We can see it. So I know there's work that's being done that is positive. So this message is for you. Understand this deeply and to the core of your being. Let it resonate. The path to the Most High is not an easy path filled with beautiful poppies. You have to want this to the core of your being to deal spiritually with the things that happen here in the mundane. Many of us feel like, God, why is this happening? I've been praying. I've been studying. I've been listening. I am meditating. I'm attending church service. I'm working my commission. I'm doing all of these things. Why did somebody come and steal my money? Why did my car break down? Why am I sick? Why does my body ache all the time? Why is my mind not clear? Why is my eyesight failing? We have questions about what's going on in the mundane when we have been doing this work. Do you know that once you decided to choose this path, that all demonic attention turn your way? If you was someone who got here and has had stagnant energy and are lukewarm, the demons are moved on. They're like, there's no threat here. This person, you know, they come in here, they say, yes, this is what I'm gonna do. And they're not really, you know, moving upward in their spiritual path. So no threat detected. But if you're someone who's consistently bringing the fire, you are going to go through tests and trial and pain in order to sharpen your spiritual tools for that next level of ascension. I said this before, and I'll say it again. We are all here to perfect our spirits. We have to learn these lessons in this life, or we will continue to repeat them. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to keep bumping my head on the same thing over and over again. We are all on different levels and have different trials and tests to endure, specifically geared to our unique spirit. Because what may be a temptation for me may not be a same temptation for you. And when you are the most focused on reaching new spiritual levels and getting closest to God, is when we sometimes feel that presence is far. We sometimes feel pressure, and the pressure of being birthed into the new realm. Giving birth is painful, for lack of a better word. However, depending on what your preparation is, depending on what you know to do, that pain does not have to be excruciating. It could be a pain that can be tolerated. It could be a pain that can be understood. A lot of times you'll have a lot of women who give birth and they have no clue how to do things, no soothing techniques, no spiritual understanding, no understanding of the body. So the pain is excruciating, and it becomes a next level of pain, to the point where there are so many horror stories. But then you have people who claim to have painless childbirth. So which one is right? Is it painful or is it not painful? Oh, it's painful. However, there are techniques and things that you can do if you understand, if you cultivate those things, if you do your movement, if you're walking, if you're drinking the right things, if you're eating the right things, if you're doing chants, if you're doing prayers, there are things that you can do to help it be less painful, such as when we are walking with the Most High. Reframing the mind to God mode when we look at problems before us is important. Problems that seem like they are against us can also just be God's principles at work. As you sow, shall you reap. Ma'at and reciprocity, what you put out coming back to you. In Ancient Future, I have Ancient Future here by Wayne Chandler. And when I was looking through it, on page 208, it says, the world is full of starvation, disease, malice, greed, oppression. Noticeably, the human family is not at peace with itself. According to the law of causation, we must eat the fruit from the seeds we sow ourselves. Obviously, we must be planting the wrong seeds. It is not causation that creates woes and sorrows over the world. It is us existing without correct action. So what seeds are we sowing? We have to think about these things. Sometimes we sow the wrong seeds. We are here to learn from the greatest to the least of us. So we can sow a seed of not listening, or we can sow a seed of not listening to the prompting of our spirit. It doesn't have to be sowing the seeds of something hugely, obviously, blatantly negative. Just the seed of not listening to our spirit can cause a very big problem. And then the road we travel because of that decision is not an easy one. So it may not be that it is a demon after you. It may be that you need to pay attention to why you did not listen to the spirit that's within you the first time, when he was telling you not to go in that direction. In the mundane, people will call this red flags. How many of us have been in relationships that were absolutely terrible? And then when we look back, we can see that the red flags were so blaring. Things were screaming at us. Do not be with this person. Do not go down this route. Please let me tell you, don't do this. And even in the midst of your feeling, you was like, maybe this ain't right, but you still went and did it anyway. And it turned out to be a complete disaster. That's a seed that we sown. So in the middle of that disaster, you're like, why is this happening? I'm a good person. Why is this happening? You sowed a seed of not listening to your spirit. When your spirit say, maybe you shouldn't deal. Maybe you shouldn't do this. But he's so, or, she's so, and we got into it and we found out what the so was. It was all too obvious that that person was not okay. But for some reason, we chose to ignore it and ended up in a complete disaster. Sometimes blaming God for our folly. Like when we read in the Bible where he said, God, the woman that you sent me told me to eat this apple. You gotta listen. You gotta listen. Here and now, as Africans in the conscious community, we have it bad too, because there are certain things that we want to have happen. When we think all skin folk is kinfolk, that's the problem. We want to be the ones who create a forceful change in the freedom of our people. So sometimes we don't listen when the spirit tells us that maybe we shouldn't do something, or maybe we shouldn't act a certain way. We want to reap benefits like today, like right now. Our ancestors showed us that they built for eternity, which means when they started building these temples, they knew that their children and grandchildren were probably going to be the one finishing the temple and benefiting from the temple, but they still built a strong temple. They were not in a rush. They were not in a hurry. They built it for the future. We are focused on the end result. And we also sometimes we want to be seen in a certain light. So some decisions are hard and we don't want to hurt people's feelings. And we do that a lot. We overlook things. We say, I don't want to hurt that person's feelings, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this happen, and to not say anything, so I'm not, hurting that person's feelings, as opposed to going and speaking with that person. We are teaching people to exorcise demons that we are still haunted by. And that was real big when Most High dropped that on me. A lot of times we are doing that. We are trying to teach people how to, and we are trying to exorcise a demon that's actually inside of us. So when we're yelling at people, you a liar, you a manipulator, you a this, you a that, guess what? Who you talking to? You talking to yourself. You're talking in the mirror. Think about what's going on within you and stop pointing the fingers at everybody else. We have to raise ourselves higher than what it is that we just see with this eye. And we have to have this internal thought process. Because a lot of us have been here a while. So we have to be able to raise it from whatever level that you started at. You should not still be on the infant level if you've been here however many years. I'm just saying. I'm saying what I got to say. But I want to tell you, I'm not around to judge any of you. That's not what I'm here for. Where you are or where you are not, spiritually speaking, that's not my job to judge. I'm not one of your 42 assessors, Mama Alicia is not, that's not who I am. That's not my position. That's not my place. You will not experience me pointing fingers at you and saying this, that, and the other. Because in the Bible, it tells you, judge not lest ye be judged. For with what judgment you judge, you shall be judged. And with what measure that you deal out, it shall be measured to you again. That's basically saying, if you're judging people, you're going to get judged back. And if you're judging them and telling them, this is how I'm going to, do you, that's how you're going to get done. In the book of Aung Shanti, it says, do not do to a person what you dislike, and thus cause another person to do it to you also. It says in the book of Prayers of Sacred Pages that Amun-Ra is the one who judges the land. That's not for me to do. I'm not here to judge anybody, because with whatever measure I am judging you is the same measure that I will be judged. I'm leaving that to the Most High. We need to look at the best and highest in our people. If somebody does something that you're like, that's not quite right, the best and highest. Think of the best and highest of our people. Don't take it, whatever it is, so negatively that that person is this and that and the other. Stop doing that. We can't keep doing these things. We are not each other's enemies. I'm also not here to engage in personal internal battles. The Hosea speaks about an unrestrained person in the temple. Many times people who are grown believe that they are right all the time. In the eyes of the streets, maybe, but are they right in the measure of Ma'at? Are they right in the measure of the Most High? And that's the measurement that we're working towards. So then we say, well, minister, how can I tell if I'm right or wrong? For me, I check it like this, and this is me. Maybe you might check it a different way, but this is me. Checking my heart and checking my fruit. What are my motives for doing or saying what it is that I'm doing or saying? And what is coming forward from what I say and from what I do? The fruit of the Spirit was highlighted to me by my father's best friend, Willie Coleman. And he talked to me about Galatians 5:22 and 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. If you are always fighting against things, you are not promoting peace and unity. I don't care what you say, what you want to call it. If you're always fighting, that's not peace and that's not unity. If what you do in the name of unity causes disunity, that is not kind. It does not promote joy and love and goodness. You need to check the seeds that you are sowing, because they are only yielding bitter fruit. Some people will never see that they are wrong because they think that they are fighting for right. They think that oh, I think I'm fighting for right. This is what's the right thing is doing. But as vibratory beings, we are in a growth state as the conscious separates one reality to the next. At this moment in our time in life, consciousness is separating. There is a pulling apart. And there's some people who want to choose one pill over the other. There's people who are saying, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but are you really? What is the reality of the situation? And you can see it by the fruit. I'm letting you guys in on that. If somebody continues to say something and you're looking at what's coming from what it is they're saying, and it's not peace, it's not joy, it's not love, it's not the beautiful, juicy fruit of the Most High, then maybe that's not the vibration that you want to be associated with. So those of you that are doing the work, do not let the demons, the predators, those who say they are something but not, the flatterers, the soothsayers, those that produce words that stroke the ego, beware of those things. Continue on your high vibratory path, seeking God and doing good for His creation. Keep your vibrations high. by listening to uplifting music, prayer, meditation. Eat these things that God put here for you to eat so that your vibration will not be denatured. That's one way that we vibe high, is harmonize with nature. Keep your vibration high, and it's closer to the intended high vibration of the planet. Laugh, love, and don't take personal every little thing, because people are going through so much. And as we collectively reach upper levels, it is a time to deepen our spiritual roots. Now is the time to do that which God loves. Understanding God's laws and operating on your plane within them is more important than anything at this time, where we may face things that are pulling us deathward. We have to all remember that we are not each other's enemies, especially those people who are sitting here trying to walk the way. Everybody's not going to be perfect. There will be people who you would be like, okay, well, why do they keep doing this, or why do they keep doing that? Let's focus on bringing out more life, more love, more harmony, more joy, more of the things that we desire. Bring out from yourself, because we cannot control anybody. We can control the things that we do. So there's no use arguing with people who is grown. They're not trying to change. And if they are, you're not going to be the one to change them. If something needs changing, Most High will do the changing. And if there has to be something that you have to say, let's do that respectfully with each other. So if there's ever something that I'm like, no, and it's not blatant to everybody, and I just need to talk to that person because that person just did something to me, guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to that person, and me and that person will have a conversation. If I say something and people are like, oh, what's up with that? Call me, email me, text me, and say, Sister Alicia, what do you mean by that? It's been done before. And then we can have a conversation. We are not each other's enemies. When we say, let there be peace and harmony among us, it means let there be peace and harmony among us. There are bigger fights to fight that's out there. There's fights to fight within ourselves. So why are we fighting within ourselves, fighting with each other, and fighting with people out there? We got to get this together, because if we're supposed to be the spiritual teachers, if the spiritual teachers ain't getting it together, well, what's going on here? That's us. We the ones. So we can't be fighting with each other. So if you got a problem, you got an issue, you got a demon that you need exercise, just understand you're looking at other people and you're pointing fingers, point your finger at yourself. Figure out what you can do with yourself. Because Most High is working with you, which is why you see it in the first place. Most High is working with you through someone else. Learn these things. These are higher spiritual concepts that we all need to understand at this stage of the game. The separation of the planet spiritually and vibrationally is going on right now as we speak. It started a few years ago, it's continuing now, and the gap is getting wider. So you make your choice, whether you're going to work with the higher spiritual beings or you're going to be caught in the lower vibration. Pull yourself up from that lower vibration, because that's working its thing. That's working its thing. You have to make your decision, because if we are not making our decisions, it's going to be made for us. So I'm not lowering my vibration to kick it with anyone. And if you're doing things that's making people pick and choose between other African people when we're all supposed to be trying to work and walk this way together, that's not the vibration we need to go on. It's everybody's choice. Choose which way you're going. I'm choosing the side of right. I'm choosing the side of when I see the beautiful fruit, when I taste that beautiful fruit, when I'm seeing love, peace, joy, gladness, when I'm seeing the things of God, that's the direction I'm walking in. Because that's the person who's doing the work. And we have to vibe high with the people who are doing the work. And that does not mean our people are perfect. That does not mean they need to be perfect every step of the way. That is not how this goes. But what it does mean is that Most High is going to be dealing with them. You ain't got to open up your mouth. You ain't got to do any of that and cause any type of disunity and call it unity all you want to. You can call whatever it is what you want. You can call an elephant a bear. You can call a zebra a child. You can call whatever. But we are here to be able to open ourselves, work with ourselves, so that we might be able to do those things that our ancestors and the Most High has called upon us to do, which is cultivate the ability to see right from wrong and the real from the unreal. We are not each other's enemy. We are going to have to get this right. I love all of you. Don't let it be twisted, because people like to twist words. If I say I don't like people, move away from that. That is what it is. But I love all of you. And so we want to understand, and we want to move forward, and we want to build in goodness and righteousness and rightness and divine law. Divine law and love and power and peace and joy and understanding and upliftment movements and high vibrations. And sis, I'm working on getting my eating right. Me too, sis, let's get this. So that we can both vibe high with the Most High. We're not working that negative energy. We are not going to work that negative energy. We're not giving any energy to that negative energy. Behold, I have come to you empty of evil and devoid of deceit, a blameless one without a witness against him or her. Therefore, let no cause be brought against me. I live on my oath. I satisfy myself with the righteousness of my heart, for I have done that which men and women request, and that which pleases God. I have found favor with God by doing that which he loves. I have given bread to the hungry, water to the thirsty, clothes to the naked, and a boat to those with have none. I have made due offerings to God and funeral offerings to the departed. Deliver me then and protect me. Make no report against me in the presence of the great God, for I am one whose mouth is pure and whose hands are clean. Therefore, let it be said to me, welcome. Welcome. Come in peace by those who shall see me. Amen and Ashe.
Amen and Ashe. Amen and Ashe. Minister Alicia. New levels, new devils. Whew. We're gonna have the invitation.
Amen and Ashe.
Ashe. We're gonna have the invitation brought by Minister Rahana. Some of you may look at the schedule and say Minister Leek, but for some reason the message came through from him. They wouldn't be able to be here today, and so Minister Rahana is stepping forward to offer the invitation.
Amen Ra.
Ashe.
Thank you, Minister Alicia, for that message. You know you hold a special place with me. They nicknamed me in MIT training as Hatshepsut because of, well, I guess you'd have to ask them why they named me that, but I always say if I was going to battle, I want you with me, that's for sure. If anyone is watching, listening, and is thinking that this is powerful. Yes, it is. The message of our people, the message of where we need to go, the message of where we need to be is very powerful. And we already have written and seen and read the evidence of where we go in disunity, where we go if we're not together, where we go if we're not all on rope at the same time, or if we got this action going, we're going to do all right angles. So if you're listening and in any way this sounds like something that vibrates within you, if you do not have a place that you call a spiritual home, a spiritual community for yourself, we welcome you to join us. If you've been coming and spending your time with us, and every time you come, you feel a connection, you feel like whomever it might be that's giving the message, there's something in it that you take away that maybe you're not quite getting somewhere else. Well, that's what we have here at Woze. We have a different perspective. We have a different way of looking at things, and it is the way, right? It's truth, justice, righteousness. It's harmony, balance, order, right order. It's reciprocity, right? It's those things that no matter what background you come from, because many of us came from different backgrounds. We came from different teachings. We came from different books. But if you can apply truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, right order, reciprocity, if you can apply those type of things, then we welcome you. So please raise your hand. Please put your name in the chat. Please say, I'd like more information. Maybe you're not ready to technically join. Well, you don't have to join today. You can just say, I want to be a part of what you got going on over there at Woze. And believe me, we'll find a place to put you and whatever you bring to the table into action to help us move forward. So please, if you have interest in being a part of this movement, put your name in the chat, raise your little hand under reactions if you'd like to say it out loud, and someone will speak with you now or someone will get in touch with you. And if you're pondering it, thinking about it, guess what? We'll be here next Sunday. But we would love to have you on board because our work is every day. Our work is every day. And Doris Robinson can say, can I join twice? That was powerful. I felt like that when Mally spoke last Sunday. I wanted to join again. I was ready to jump a broom, a table, everything. So I understand that feeling. That's what Woze is about. That's what Woze is about. So again, if you're out there, let us know you're out there. We need you. There's much work to be done. And if not, and I'm going to scroll through really quickly and anybody tell me if they see anything that I don't. And I would also say to any of you, I don't see necessarily any new names out there, but I would say to any of you who might be coming regularly, but there's something that you just maybe have question about or you need clarification about to know whether or not Woze is for you, then just reach out and put your name in the chat and one of the ministers can contact you and maybe answer whatever those questions might be that would help you to reach that decision. Because again, we do need you, okay? So after that, I believe we're up for Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Minister Runner. Ashe.
Ashe, oh Mister.
Baba Jeffrey, lift every voice and sing. First.
What we're supposed to say.
Divine Creator, Most High, we thank you for giving us an opportunity to be together again. We thank you for an opportunity to spend time and share this realm, share this energy, share these thoughts, these prayers, both spoken and unspoken, with our ancestors. And we thank our ancestors for their presence, because we do know that if we call on you, whether you come loudly with a boom or whether you come softly with a whisper, that you do hear us and you do respond. We thank you for the message of Minister Alicia today, and for all of the ministers that are amongst us. We pray, Mother, Father, God, that we remain a people of one mind, one heart,
One heart,
one love,
one love,
one God.
one God.
And in the name of the Most High, we say the name that has been said for many, many, many thousands of years.